Tradition. You can't buy it. It's earned the hard way over decades and eras. On the field, on the road, in the mud. With guts and with grit, and firm belief that today could be our day. The Lamar Hunt U.S. Open Cup is back. Still alive, still kicking, the oldest prize in American soccer. 96 teams, part-timers to major leaguers. Survive and move on, lose and you go home. So we call all underdogs, dreamers and believers. And we ask you again, one simple question. Are you up for the cup?
Day 2 of the opening round of the 110th edition of the Lamar Hunt U.S. Open Cup. We're happy to have you with us for it here this evening at Lower.com Field in Columbus, Ohio. Alongside MLS veteran Ricky Lopez-Espin, I'm Joe Malfa. It's Columbus Crew 2 and New York Renegades FC, two teams in their first ever Open Cup. This Crew 2 side has had a ton of success in MLS Next Pro.
They want to play. They know how to play. They want to break you down through ball penetration. Federico Higuain, he's a fantastic coach, and expect his side to be firing and take this game to New York Renegades. I do think the first 10 to 15 minutes going to be really important for the Crew 2 side. And
important for Renegades as well. You talk about the anatomy of a cup set. It usually comes down to a good start from the lower division side, coming through qualifying this UPSL club led by head coach Boris Linares.
We had the ability to speak with him, and he said, look, we want to press them. We want to make them uncomfortable. We want to play on their front foot. So for this Renegade side, how aggressive can you be, and how good can you be at finding that balance? Because you do not want to get spread apart, because this Crew side is too good. They can break you down.
We only had one cup set yesterday. It was 4-0 beating Texoma in a game that had a couple of red cards, went to extra time. It was a fun time. We'll see if there's any more. 13 games in all today. Renegades would like to beat one of those cup sets here tonight. And here are the 22 who are out there. I'll bring your attention to Chase Adams, a 16-year-old for Columbus Crew 2. A lot of high hopes for him.
Him, Ortiz, Arugianfi, that front three is going to be really explosive, and look for them to test this Renegades back line. And for the Renegades, a player that you want to stand out is Sebastian Ruiz at the number 10 position. How quickly can he get up to tempo? Because he needs to be massive if they have any hopes of advancing into the next round.
It'll be Columbus Crew 2 in their yellow from left to right, and New York Renegades FC in their white and orange from right to left. They traveled in yesterday so they could get acquainted. They said that this Crew 2 side was kind enough to invite them to the stadium, give them a walkthrough. This is a thrill for them, but Boris Linares talked about playing the moment and enjoying it while not being afraid of it and overwhelmed by it. That's, again, what you talked about the first 15 minutes. For these lower division sides, if you can weather the first 15, it doesn't feel as big anymore, and it does feel like you belong.
On the other side of your Federico Higuain, like you said, I think he wants his side to end this game in the first 10 to 15 minutes, right? If you can get a goal, now you afford the ability to be a little bit more expansive and break them down.
Referee in charge tonight, Atahan Yaya. And he sends us on our way. Opening match of the 13 we'll see this evening here in the Lamar Hunt U.S. Open Club. Glad to have you with us for it with Ricky Lopez-Espin. I'm Joe Malfa. Saw 11 matches yesterday. More to come tomorrow, and now one snuck in there on Friday as well. A full opening week of Open Cup. Keyshawn Ferdinand has the lone goal in Columbus's season so far. They played just 2 games, uncharacteristically so based on what we've come to know them as in Next Pro. They've lost both of those games to start the season. They won the title in the inaugural season in 2022, runners-up in 23, and they again made the Eastern Conference Final last year where they fell to Philadelphia. So an 0-2 start, but here they go. Opening attack a minute in. Played in through toward Ortiz and all the way through for Prestes. Out of play as they set up in this 3-4-3. They love to get forward.
The way that Federico Higuain likes to play, his outside backs have the freedom to pick and choose their times when to join the attack. And doing that, Arugianfi and Ortiz like to come centrally and supply Chase Adams, who will spearhead the attack for Columbus Crew 2.
Ojai Bedward comes across, knocks it out for a throw. You made your pro debut in Open Cup with Real Salt Lake against Sporting Kansas City. What does it feel like to be out there, jitters, for a lot of these young players who are making their first appearance, especially on the Renegade side?
I think it's really interesting, right? It depends on kind of the situation with what you're in. For this Columbus Crew 2 side, right, it's an opportunity to showcase yourself and play with pressure, right? If you lose, your tournament is done. So Federico Higuain, I think the message is play the game, don't play the occasion, continue to do what got you to this point. And for Renegades, good move here.
That was Chase Adams out on that wing for Columbus.
And for the Renegades, it's an opportunity to test yourself against professional players. As an organization, as a player, all you can ask for is an opportunity, and that's what the Open Cup gives you.
Here's Sebastian Ruiz, somebody that head coach Boris Linares points to as their most special player. See what he can bring to the happenings here tonight. Anybody at home who might be saying Columbus Crew has been in this tournament before, that is true. Not Columbus Crew 2, though. This is their first appearance officially. Columbus Crew historically have won this tournament back in 2002 and twice the runners-up as well. But Crew 2's first entrance into this tournament as an ex-pro side, and they have a corner here in the early going.
A little bit of about the glimpse of what Columbus Crew 2 is all about. Presses on this near side provides the width, so Ado Giampi has the ability to be direct with his movement.
Swinger, low line drive, loose in the area, and dealt with by the Renegades. Edge of the area, swing and a miss on the effort from Austin Sue. Pressure kept up though by Crew 2. How deep New York is. That is again the life of an amateur side in the early goings of these matches. Just make sure you don't let the early one in, because that one becomes 4 very quickly. Now over the top the other way, the flag stays down. Brought in by Descalso and blocked.
You need to be really careful if you are Columbus Crew 2. Yes, you're going to see a lot of the ball and you're going to be on the front foot attacking minded, but you cannot leave yourself vulnerable going back the other way. Exactly what Boris Linares wants. Very difficult to break down and make it a little bit more of a transitional game. Good action from the Renegades.
Chris Rogers hits the diagonal. Looking for Prestis and gathered by Eric Edwards. Eric Edwards might have to come up big in this one. A player who's known to be able to stand on his head. Boris Linares said he's going to have a big game. Just realistically, you know, Columbus is going to get their shots in. Eric Edwards formerly played in Jamaica, appeared in CONCACAF League with Arnett Gardens, has been called up to Jamaica's senior team, never appeared, but had a call up officially back in 2022 and sat on the bench behind Andre Blake. Looking to get his next pro shot and using this as his platform. We've seen it time and again, year over year, that players come through this tournament, show out, and then get signed. You and I will have the call later on for Real Monarchs and El Farolito. That was the darling of last year. Denmore Benson on that El Farolito side helped knock out Fuego, then signed to Fuego in USL League One and scored 4 goals in 13 games. So now he's back with El Farolito because Fuego folded. But looking for that next opportunity, perhaps tonight. Maybe it's Eric Edwards who becomes the star here tonight in goal for the Renegades. Pretty nonchalant from Columbus, just walking it up. I almost thought I missed a whistle or something that the ball was being run up the field. Now there is a whistle for an offside. Another difficult thing to navigate that we talked about with Coach Linares of Renegades FC, they're not in season right now. They don't begin until May. They haven't played since late fall when their UPSL season ended. So they all just sort of crash course came in, practiced for a week or two, and got ready for this game. We've seen that work for teams. Last year, another one of the early tournament darlings was Vermont. Vermont came out as a USL 2 side and turned some heads. lo and behold, little did we know that team was comprised of a lot of UVM players that went on to win the national championship last year in NCAA Division I. But sometimes it's better that you just come right into it and don't think about it too much. And that's what this Renegades team is. They just come right in, had a couple weeks of training, and now go play a game.
Fitness is always an issue, right? The mental side of it, the physical side of it. So if you are Columbus Crew 2, we talk about the first 10 to 15 minutes, right? Let the ball do all the work, make them chase, and let their legs get tired. Because when they do, that's a really good ball.
Prestis bends it in for Adu Giamfi.
Edwards been spot on with his positioning already. 8 minutes in here, the ability to close down space. That movement on this near side with Adu Giamfi, inside out. That's been something that Federico Higuain has been pointing out about the first half here.
Ultimately gets out wide after the deflection by Francisco Flores. Head toward Adams. Chase Adams battling. You could see year over year somebody that you've seen at lower levels for Columbus. Chase Adams, his body's starting to fill out as well, and that's why the hype train around him is really starting to take off now at 16 years of age. He has 5 caps for the US U17s and 11 goals. Caveat, 10 of those goals came in one game against the U.S. Virgin Islands, but he's starting to show out at the national team level as well. Renegades again on the counterattack, had it blocked. Good effort from Sebastian Ruiz. And corner for the visitors.
I think he misses an opportunity to play his striker. Vilcauzo makes a fantastic run off to shoulder Palacios as he likes to go on himself. Bright spot for the Renegades, this Ruiz. On this near side, right foot is always wants to come centrally.
Can they make the most of their first set piece? Dropped in, header on, and saved by Lapkus. The flag stayed down because they still had a defender on the post. A golden opportunity there for Renegades FC.
Set pieces, especially when you do not have a lot of the ball. Fantastic way to put some pressure on opposing back lines. Good positioning from Lapkus in the end. The Renegades starting to get themselves into this game and feeling a little bit more confident.
Well, they should feel some level of confidence. Reigning 2024 UPSL Premier Regional Champs, 2023 UPSL Division I Champs. And their run to qualify for this tournament was special in its own right. They beat New York Greek American SC. Why is that significant in the first round? Well, they're a historic Open Cup club. Back in when it was all amateur size before the modern era, they won 4 U.S. Open Cups, and they're typical qualifiers. Recently, Lansdowne Yonkers have also become a mainstay in qualifying to get through their 5-time entrance into Open Cup, and they beat them in the qualifying final. So they beat the historic side in their opening game that's won this tournament 4 times, and then the recent favorite in Lansdowne Yonkers, they beat them in the final to make their first ever Open Cup here. So they're coming into this with some confidence based on their path through. Second corner now for Columbus. This Crew 2 side typically plays at historic Crew Stadium, not here at Lower.com Field, so this is a bit of a thrill for them as well to play in the first team's park. From the corner, foul called against Columbus. Ten minutes gone here in the opening match of the evening here in the 110th edition of the Lamar Hunt U.S. Open Cup. First of 13 matches tonight. Happy to get you started this evening with Ricky Lopez-Espin. I'm Joe Malva. You can catch it all right here on the U.S. Soccer YouTube channel. Flip around as the evening goes along. Ferdinand gets it back. Sue. Rincon. You know the possession is going to be significant for Columbus. We're seeing it early on, 82%. Still only 12 minutes, so that number's going to be inflated. But you have to expect they're going to live around that 70 to 75 mark as this game goes along.
I'm going to do a little bit more with the ball in terms of penetrating this Renegades backside. You're looking at Prestis, Brown. Those have probably been the two most used outlets for Columbus Crew. You see a little bit more of Chase Adams, as well as Ortiz that are playing underneath. You get the more impactful Chase Adams. How many times have we seen him drop in a little bit deeper to try to get on the ball? You want him to stay as high as he possibly can. You mentioned how successful he's been, Joe, at finding the back of the net. So he's always going to be a player that's going to rely on a lot of attention.
Played over the top here toward Descalzo. Diving header away from Ferdinand. Another opportunity here for Renegades off of a counter.
A bit shaky from Columbus Crew too, dealing with balls over the top. If I am Boris Linares, the head coach, telling my boys to continue to play direct, cause a little bit of chaos within the back line of Columbus Crew too.
And what did you talk about? The first 15 minutes, they've just about weathered that without giving any golden opportunities to Columbus. They probably had the best opportunity off that last corner. And you just see it, the anatomy of these cup sets, as we often talk about. It's gaining confidence early and building from there. Now from the corner, it's snatched by Lapkus. But it's usually those games where the higher division side gets an early goal and you're coming in with all this excitement. You're in the Open Cup as an amateur side. It's deflating to see that first goal go in first 10, 15 minutes, and before you know it, it's 4 or 5. The longer it goes at 0-0, it's going to benefit the visitor, and forget it if the visitor is able to score first in this case here. Then you're talking about a team brimming with confidence, and they can sit back really compact and tough to play through. Did not see a lot of it yesterday. 11 games, just 1 amateur side coming through. This first round, 64 teams overall, 32 amateur teams, 32 pro teams. Got 14 teams from USL League 1, 10 from MLS Next Pro, including this Columbus side, and 8 teams from USL Championship. The amateur side, you had 14 local qualifiers, the National Amateur Cup winner, UPSL Spring Champ, 7 NPSL sides, and 9 USL 2 sides. Renegades here, one of those local qualifiers, but under some fire. Another set piece coming here, free kick, and a good spot to get a service in for Crew 2.
Desired location is right on top of this 6-yard box. Asked some questions and tested the decision-making of Edwards. You have to think Palacios, 48 in yellow, is going to be the intended target with his size.
Curious to see where these Crew players lining up alongside the wall run off to as well. Seems like they have something up their sleeve. Chase Adams in the middle of that Crew wall, for lack of a better way to put it, behind the Renegades wall. They do have something set off the training ground, but it's intercepted, well read by Francisco Flores. Throw coming for the home side. Player down for Renegades FC, back to his feet, doesn't need a trainer to come out. Saying that there was something else that happened that led to the whole issue. Let's start talking to from the referee here to these 2 players involved. That's Christian Ortiz for Columbus. And Samuel Caceres, the captain of this Renegade side. Keep an eye on them, they're still matched up here on this throw. Renegades looking to counter. Out ahead toward Descalzo. Charging back Palacios. Awkward moment there. Lapkus came out. I don't know if he needed to. Dangerous tackle there. Descalzo from behind. Immediately apologetic as he gets up. It's a yellow.
Just no need to leave your feet if you're Descalzo. Catches the right ankle, Ferdinand. Clear yellow. You talk about the mental side of the game, Joe. You want to get excited. You want to put that extra effort. Now, what does the discipline look like for Descalzo for the remainder of this game? Columbus Crew jerseys are yellow or gold?
I don't know, my eyes tell me yellow. It
Yellow,
might officially say gold on a pamphlet somewhere, but
Okay.
why?
No, because I said 48 in yellow, and I was like, is it yellow or gold?
The card was also yellow, not gold there.
Yeah, there you go.
Could have been red, though.
I think it would have been harsh to
Harsh?
get red, yeah.
Coming in from behind like that, little bit of a slight scissor motion. Columbus was pleading for more, it seemed, but yellow probably fair. See, the Cappy supporter is just saying yellow from Coldplay,
Okay,
so I'm going to say it's yellow, not gold.
There
baby.
you go.
There's your answer. I think they heard you. All the way back to Eric Edwards. Hasn't had to make a save yet. Goalkeeper to goalkeeper we go. Federico Higuain coaching this Columbus 2 side, formerly a player for the Crew, longtime legend here. Went on to coach Inter Miami CF2 last couple of years in MLS Next Pro. Parted ways this past season and then came back home to Columbus. Here's Adu Giamfi looking for Chase Adams. Adu Giamfi barrels back in, play on. Sue. Rincon. He's brought down, free kick for Crew.
Again, just a little too slow for Columbus Crew to make a decision. Especially in central locations. New York Renegades are doing a really good job at just congesting that area of the field. A lot of bodies. So whether you can break them down if you are the Columbus Crew, move the ball from left to right, make them step out of their shell, and that's when you can break them down with quick ball movement in central locations, but just far too predictable from the MLS Next Pro side.
Flicked on. Good idea from Adu Giamfi. Had 7 goals last year. Adu Giamfi just behind team leader Chase Adams, who had 9 in his age 16 season. He's turning 17 in a couple of weeks. Chase Adams. Something to keep in mind as you go through this tournament, some of the age gaps that you'll see in terms of average age of starters between MLS Next Pro sides and some of the amateur sides they're facing. This Renegades side, older college kids or players who are looking to make that pro influx, didn't really find a path immediately. So they're mostly in their mid-20s, a couple in their low 20s. This Crew side, for the most part, teenagers. Old saying is if you're good enough, you're old enough, and all these players for Crew 2 are chosen for good reason. All thought to have bright futures, but there is definitely a learning curve in terms of the age group from older teenagers to mid-20s in terms of physicality and being able to kind of withstand some of those rigors of an elimination game like this against a Renegade side that came through qualifying and had to battle in some of those games, really bruising type games. This Columbus side, sure, they've been in the Next Pro playoffs, but it's another newish group of players, not really battle-tested in that way.
I think it's also an opportunity for these Columbus Crew players to play against.
Lapkus overruns it. Descalzo gets onto it. Descalzo had it blocked. That's twice now. Lapkus has just gotten it completely wrong coming off his line.
Really nervy in the back for Columbus Crew too. That's a goalkeeper decision making is everything. If you decide to come off of your line, you have to make a play on the ball. Almost an uh-oh moment for Lapkus. Fortunate that Palacios there is to clean up his mess. But again, Joe, playing direct, for the Renegades has caused some issues for Columbus Crew too early on here.
Club founded just 6 years ago, back in 2019. Boris Linares, the club president and acting head coach today, just had a passion for it. Went up with a partner, started discussing it, fleshing out the idea on Long Island. Just an opportunity to be that platform for players who are either looking to find an academy that's outside of an MLS program, or who are in college and looking for a team to play for in the summer and go on from there, or in the case of Eric Edwards in goal, players who were pro elsewhere who are looking to make their start in the United States. Eric Edwards coming over from Jamaica. Just really wanted to be able to be a launching point for players. That's basically the club's motto in a way. That's their whole operating point. Just be a launching pad, in the words of Boris Linares. And no other, or no better platform rather, to do that from that Open Cup. We've seen it again, as we talked about earlier, year over year. Players and teams come into this tournament, they get noticed, they get signed, and it's something that jumpstarts their careers. A couple of players already flashing here for Renegades. Still 0-0. Columbus, though, on the prowl. Knocked away. Into space here. Renegades looking to counter with speed down the left wing. Cutting inside, it's Ruiz. Floating to Descalzo. Both of those players have been bright early on. Descalzo goes for a goal. Lapkus leaves it. Player back on the other side. Another misplay from Lapkus. He never noticed that on the back side, he had Milton Campos lurking.
Just the back line for Columbus Crew all over the place. It's Palacios, the center back, that steps down. Look at the recovery run, or lack thereof, of effort versus Lapkus. You should never let this ball come across if you're a goalkeeper, especially with the lack of recovery runs from Rogers, Palacios, and Ferdinand. This Columbus Crew 2 side, very casual to start this game. And even like this show, the tempo needs to be a lot higher. Players are taking far too many touches, slowing the game down, and like you mentioned, that just plays into the hands.
Something on here, played in, Adu Giamfi. Offside flag comes up.
Just plays into the hands of the Renegades. They can get all 11 players behind the ball, make their defensive lines extremely compact. So Juan Federico Higuain, top priority just to up the tempo, and especially the ball movement.
Going direct again, Renegades. And you're starting to see that shift that we talked about early on. Whether the first 15 minutes, then you have the confidence to go on and ignite some attacks of your own. We're on minute 25. They haven't been tested really defensively. Now they're growing offensively. Here's Ruiz looking to play it through, almost threads the needle. First 15 minutes, it was all direct over the top. Now look at all the white jerseys in the attacking half pressing. Boris Linares said they would press. They felt out the early going, now trying to trap Columbus. This is starting to go away. That, again, we see cup sets all the time. They follow this script. Not saying it's going to be the case today. Columbus can turn it on. They've been in a lull here. They could turn it on. They could find that goal, and one becomes three. But this is how a cup set builds. Renegades checking every box so far. And the typical script we see followed. Only saw 1 in 11 games yesterday. Perhaps it means we're due for more tonight.
Just no real movement as well from Columbus Crew. Just watching Chase Adams. He's almost playing as a number 10 after goal scorer.
Sue looking back through for Tristan Brown. Takes a dive. Intercepted off the goal kick. Edwards will get a second crack at it. Rincon. Turning is Ortiz. Had Adams right away. Brown for Adams. Chase Adams goes for goal. First save made by Eric Edwards. That was the first shot on target for Crew 2. Had one shot compared to 6 shots, 1 on target for Renegades.
It's the first time we really see Chase Adams get himself involved in the final third. To continue to talk about the success that he's had at this level, but also U.S. Youth International. You have to think if Columbus Crew 2 is going to find the back of the net, he's going to have a say in that.
Prestis, end line, Prestis centering, Edwards has it, wants to ignite a quick counter, looking. And he'll just settle it down now, nobody open right away. It's a goalkeeper if you can, especially in a situation like this where you want to get out in transition, you go for it, but not at the expense of your group if it would be detrimental. That's what Edwards saw. But they give it away anyway.
Good ball.
Ortiz. Supporters were imploring him to shoot. He did not oblige. Now Renegades the other way. 3v3 here. They have the numbers. Descalzo starts his run. Carried by Woods. Dylan Woods slows it down. Would you have liked to see them just go for it there at 3-on-3?
100%, 3v3. Take your chances.
Here he is again. Woods centers. Takes a deflection. Shout for a handball from Renegades. Couldn't quite make it out if it was. First glance, I thought it came off the thigh of Chris Rogers. Another ball played in and sent away. Let's see. Penalty or no penalty?
Watch the left arm.
Is it 48? Palacios in there? No, right here, 72 shoe. Hey, it's shoulder.
Yeah.
I'm good with no call there.
So, yeah.
That could be the difference, though. It was yesterday in the Tulsa Derby between Tulsa Athletic and FC Tulsa. 85th minute, a play like that seemed pretty innocent. Hit off the defender's hand. FC Tulsa scores the penalty, 85th minute. A game that really didn't have much going on because of the elements, but it turned out to be enough.
Games like this, decided in moments, whether it is a silly mistake, a player producing some magic. So the longer that this thing is 0-0, just plays into the hands of the Renegades. They get confident, but also the belief continues to grow that they can play like for like with this Columbus Crew 2 side.
Two-thirds of the way through this first half. The happier side certainly has to be Renegades. Columbus, 15 minutes to change that before the team talks in the locker rooms for Boris Linares of Renegades and Fede Higuain of Columbus. Over the top, settled by Adujiamfi. Out wide, Prestis passes on the shot. Prestis goes down. And it's out for a goal kick. Seemed like he was gearing up to hit it first time.
The first time that we've seen the Crew change your point of attack, and now you have a little bit of an overload, but Prestis, you need to hit this first time. On your preferred left foot, just run onto it and really test Edwards. Trying to overcomplicate it, and that plays into the hands of Cáceres just to pick your pocket. What an opportunity that's missed for Columbus Crew 2.
Wide open down here is Sebastian Ruiz. Renegades couldn't play it that way. Awkward bit of contact leaves both players down. Free kick coming for Columbus. Waving with some urgency the trainers onto the field. So Rogers down for Columbus and Woods believe down for Renegades.
Tough challenge. But both players have every right to go for the ball. Good to see Rogers on his own power. And hopefully Woods is okay to continue on. We saw how electric he can be moments ago with the run. Ball at his feet. Been really impressed with the front three for Linares and the Renegades. How transitional lethal they can be.
It serves as an opportunity for Columbus to try and talk things over and settle things down. Of the two sides, they are the one reeling a bit and needing to figure things out. A yellow card is in hand here, about to be shown to Dylan Woods for that initial challenge. So to put him and his other striker up there, Rodrigo Descalzo, both on yellows. Referee just waiting for him to get back to his feet. Always admired that. Respectful. Let them get tended to first, and then here's a yellow card.
There you go.
Ferdinand searching. Renegades with their defensive shape just frustrating Columbus now. Took it away but gave it right back. Ferdinand looking through again. It's broken up. Just don't have any answers right now, Columbus.
Needs to be quicker, needs to have more movement. But there is a little pocket of space right in front of the Renegades back line that I do think you need more of a presence if you are Columbus Crew too. Because if you can operate out of Giamfi number 42 in yellow, you can get him on the ball. Now you afford one of the center backs to step out. Exactly this. Just need to connect that pass and then you have some success. Second part of that, Joe, is once Columbus Crew 2 is in possession, one of the two center backs need to organize quickly. Velasquez or Rogers, because so many times, moments like this, you're just wide open, it's 1v1.
And Ruiz is a player you don't want to see with the ball if you're Columbus. He misreads the skip out of play. They do play typically at a turf field, so that was part of the request from Renegades that was granted by Columbus. Just come out here, see the field, get a feel for it. Not accustomed to playing on grass, though probably happy to be playing on a proper MLS grass field instead of their local turf field. Home is home, but if you can get off the turf and get on the grass, you're going to say yes.
But you can respect them. Someone else's home is nice as well.
Of course.
Of course.
Of course.
He was outside.
I mean, he was. But if, back to that, if you can play on turf or grass, which one are you picking?
Grass.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Supporters here were just alerting Boris Linares that his shoes were untied. No telling whether they were lying or not. Shoes look tied from here, and this attack looks promising from here. Fed through for Descalzo. Here's Descalzo looking for the chip, and it's blocked. They are getting close, and now a corner.
36 minutes into this match, Bedward just seems a man among boys. Fantastic ball in. Descalzo take his first touch, sends him a little bit too far. And that affords Brown to take a better angle in his recovery run. But good work from Bedward. Yet again, he's been a fantastic player for the Renegades.
from the corner. Right back where it came from. Second effort here for Renegades. Columbus again holding strong. That's not going to do it. Brown centering. Justin Brown's been active down that left flank. Counter here for Renegades. Player down behind the play. Shai Bedward, you were just praising for being one of the best looking players so far in this game. Has some pro experience in his past. 30-year-old gets back to his feet without a trainer coming out.
When you need to go at tempo, if you are Chase Adams, you beat that initial line of pressure, and now you afford Adujiamfi to take a central position. Him, Ortiz.
Sue gives it up to Rincon. Contact there, waved off by the referee.
Really clever here from Rincon, but Bedward yet again just comes across nothing in that whatsoever. The two center backs for New York Renegades, Gastidas and Bedward, flawless in their positioning and the rotations, providing coverage off one another.
Shots to 2 in Renegades' favor. 7 of those shots have come from inside the box. They're getting into the dangerous areas. It's not like they're just winging a prayer from distance. And you see the first sub here for Renegades. Henry Martinez injured and unfit to continue. He will depart. Angelo Puerto takes his spot. Probably won't matter all that much, but it must be serious if Renegades could not wait 5 minutes to just get the sub in at half and not burn one of their substitution windows. Especially for a game that could potentially go 120. Like to keep that window if you could to get an extra player out there, but I'm sure they could make it up with either a sub at halftime or doubling up later in the game. But it just gives you a sense of how serious it might have been for Martinez, unable to continue. Just 5 minutes from halftime, using the sub now. Played in for the back post. Lapkus has it. Still dominating possession-wise, but a lot of this, when they get to the attacking half, it just breaks down.
Doing a really good job of getting themselves into that final third, but once in that final third, unable to get into any sort of rhythm and have any sort of success through their front three. Oh, there it is, Chase Adams dropping in. Adam Gioffi has been really quiet as well. Ortiz, he's the one who seems to be staying a little bit higher. When you need Sue and Rincon just to get on the ball a little bit more and pick and choose your times when to play positive and break lines or have the ball circulating, because everything has been in front of this back line of the Renegades. Exactly what I'm talking about, Joe. Moments like this, it needs to move quicker. You need to bypass some blinds and play into a Chase Adams.
Hasn't touched it much. And their leading scorer last season with 9 goals. Coming off of a really strong international showing with the United States U17s. Here he is now on cue. Doesn't get there though. Ahead of, once again, Bedward. Gets behind him though at the end line and wins a corner. Good physical battle for Adams against somebody 13 years older.
It's the first time that we've seen Bedward have a misstep. He's been fantastic with his recovery run and his positioning. Chase Adams really clever, comes around his shoulder and wins a set piece for his side. The other moments that if you are Federico Higuain, you need to take full advantage of and causing some issues in front of Edwards.
Looped in, headed centrally defensively and in! They get it done off of a set piece. Columbus, bit of a breakdown for Renegades, and right on the doorstep of halftime, it's Keyshawn Ferdinand who opens the scoring for Columbus.
Talked about this game can be decided by moments. It's not the initial ball, it's the secondary action. Ferdinand, bottom of your screen, he's first to react. Every single player in a white jersey gets caught ball watching. Not one of them. See the runners. Ferdinand skips in behind, unmarked. Really good header from about 6 yards out. And moments before halftime, Columbus Crew 2, they take the lead.
That changes everything. So much good in this half done by Renegades. Looked the more poised of the two teams to score. But Columbus finds it right on the stroke of halftime. Renegades trying to get it right back, but a foul called in the build-up.
It's going to be really interesting now, Joe, to see the reactions from both sides. Obviously, Federico Higuain is going into halftime with the lead. So to see change something in terms of their approach, a little bit more defensive-minded. The subs come in, and for Boris Linares, the head coach of the Renegades, now you need to step out a little bit higher, be a little bit more aggressive in the way that you go after this game.
Second one before halftime, if they could find it now with this momentum for Columbus, that would almost feel like it would put it out of reach historically, the way these games tend to go. First goal so significant when you're talking about a pro side against an amateur side here. An early Open Cup round, strike from distance, save made by Eric Edwards. They said he'd have to be on today for Renegades to pull off any sort of upset. And he makes a big one.
I love this ball from Ferdinand. Watch how the white jerseys all come towards one side of the field, so that leaves some space centrally. Great strike from Rogers, even better save from Edwards.
Scored off the last corner. Sioux turns. Intercepted by Rogers, slows it down. That was only their second shot on target, Columbus, the one that turned out to be the goal. Palacios did well to battle off and have that centering header now slip through. Opportunity to make it 2 around Edwards, and it squeaks through. Brent Adu-Giamfi scores a second for Crew 2, and this game has flipped on its head right before half.
We've been talking about that front three. We need them to be a little bit more aggressive. Ortiz essentially, so he occupies both center backs, and that lets Adu-Giamfi come around the corner. Eludes Edwards. You think Bedward is going to make a play on it, unable to make clean contact. And it's our first time that we've seen Columbus Crew 2 really ask questions and play direct and test this Renegades back line. And they double their lead in first half stoppage time.
Just as we were saying that was the one thing you could not have happen if your Renegades, at least at that point, get it to the break at 1-0, regroup. Second one goes in, and again, traditionally, historically in this tournament, that second one is the one that changes everything. Crew 2 did not have their best half. They get it. In the end, it's a 2-0 lead at the break for Columbus Crew 2. If you would have asked that question at minute 35, I don't know that the answer would have been 2-0 Columbus, but they find a way when all said and done.
Really interesting and important halftime talk from Boris Linares. I do think they need to step up. They need to go after this game and do not care about the scoreline at this point in time. And for Federico Higuain and Columbus Crew 2, it's how do you manage the lead, right? You want to let the ball do all the work. Big 45 coming up.
We'll be back with more from Lower.com Field in Columbus momentarily. Second half on the way. It's Columbus Crew 2 of MLS Next Pro up 2-0 on New York Renegades FC at the break of this first round matchup here in the 110th edition of the Lamar Hunt U.S. Open Cup. Other games have kicked off if you want to pop around the U.S. Soccer YouTube while we are at halftime. Moments away from the start of half number 2 between Columbus Crew 2 and New York Renegades FC. A very tightly contested first half until the very end. 44th and 45 plus 3. The goals, the timestamps for Columbus, which completely changed this game. Just when it seemed Renegades might break through and had the better of the attacking play, Columbus finds a way.
They were the more aggressive side, this New York Renegades, but unable to find it back on net. Good chance here from the striker Del Calzo. Easy save from Lapkus, and it was balls over the top that was causing all sorts of concern for Columbus Crew 2. Lapkus did not seem convincing whatsoever at commanding his 6-yard box and 18-yard box as well. But you knew with the quality that Columbus Crew 2 had, especially at the front level, they were always going to have a chance, but can they take that chance? This is the best opportunity of the match here. Great run from Bedward as he plays it into a striker, but watch his first touch. Send him too wide, and that gives Brown the ability to last-ditch defending effort. And finally, Columbus Crew find the deadlock. Ferdinand, the secondary action. Good header, 1-0 Columbus Crew deep into that first half, but can they get that second goal? Great ball in, Adujianfi around the goalkeeper, and Bedward's going to want that one back. He does all the hard part, unable to clear his line. 2-0, Crew 2.
And you see, 8 shots for Renegades, but 1 on target. They had some really good opportunities at the other end, maybe something to give them some confidence here in the second half, but now they can't sit back and counter the way they were. They're going to have to come out and play, and Columbus could possibly break them down further.
If you're Boris Linares, the message is we play direct. We need to be effective. It doesn't need to be pretty, because now when we change the point of attack and we play into our front line, they were a little bit shaky for Columbus Crew 2. On the other side for Federico Higuain, how do you manage this 2-goal lead? You want to get on the ball. You want to play this game at your pace, and especially in transitional moments, you have to provide a little bit more coverage for one another.
Renegades did make 1 sub in that first half due to injury. Angelo Puerto came on in the 40th minute. After that injury stoppage, actually, that's where Columbus seemed to be different. So you wonder if something was said from Fede Higuain. An adjustment made on the fly already at that point. Columbus right to left in the yellow. Renegades left to right in the white. And a change here at the half for Columbus. Malcolm Palacios coming off for Crew 2. He leaves with the assist on the opening goal. Gianmarco Dinotto is the one who comes on at center back. And a change for New York as well. Kilmar Campos comes off. Jose Gil replaces him. Can Renegades find their way offensively again? Some squandered opportunities early in the first half. Columbus made them pay by scoring 2 late in that first half, and we begin the second half with Columbus up 2-0. Happy to have you with us for this opening match of the evening here in the 110th edition of the Lamar Hunt US Open Cup with Ricky Lopez Espin. I'm Joe Malfa here at Lower.com Field in Columbus, Ohio. Well, Columbus pick up right where they left off at the end of that first half. Sue lays it off. Adujianfi slips it through. Flag does come up.
What a start to the second half that could have been for Columbus Crew 2. Really silly mistake from Prestis. You need to have the ability to look down the line and keep yourself onside. You get that 3rd goal for the Crew early in this second half. This game is done and dusted.
Already feels difficult at 2 for Renegades. A 3rd probably doesn't officially. Difficult to come back 2-0 in any game, but just logically, in terms of how a game like this is played, the second that you have to adjust if you're Renegades from sitting back deep and countering, which was very successful for them in that first half. Once you have to come off that game plan, then everything changes, usually negatively.
So mentally, what kind of toll does it take for the Renegades? Because, like you said, Joe, you did all the hard work in that first half. Almost executed your plan to perfection. Setting back transitional moments, watch out here. But unable to find the back of the net. And you're probably the better of the two sides. But yet, how fickle this game can be. 2-0. And coming out of the locker room. Big 5 minutes to start this second half for Boris Linares and his boys.
Difficult part is, too, with Columbus enjoying so much possession, they can really just comfortably coast through. It almost feels like it'll take a mistake from Columbus in that possession to get Renegades back into this. So as long as they don't have a self-inflicted wound, a difficult road back for Renegades. Don't expect Columbus to just sit back, though, and be content. They're a side that has lost each of their first 2 matches so far in Next Pro, and they only scored 1 goal combined in those 2 games. If they see a pathway to more goals and more comfort in the attack, they're going to take it as a sort of spark for them.
This is what you can't have happen if you are New York Renegades. Your front line is pressing, your back line is about 20 yards behind them. Now look at the space in between your lines. If you elect to press high, that whole entirety of your formation needs to be in the attacking third. Now you afford Columbus Crew just to methodically push up, have more time and space on the ball.
Flag does stay down, so Edwards comes off his line and clears.
Good run.
Played in behind here for Renegades. 3-on-3 again. They had this in the first half and didn't capitalize. Played all the way through and saved by Lapkus. Not sure if that was a shot or an effort to get it to a man streaking back post there for Renegades, but it's a wasteful opportunity in the end.
Fantastic run in from Ruiz on that far side, but look at the movement from Descalzo. You need to play this ball back across. He's in acres of space from 13 yards out. If Ruiz picks up his head, cuts it back, it's a clear goal-scoring opportunity.
Now the other way for Columbus, saved by Edwards. The rebound cleared. Could have been a goal at one end for Renegades, was almost one at the other end for Columbus. 4 other games going on right now, only one has a goal. Virginia Dream, the lower division side, up 1-0 on the road against Richmond Kickers. Chattanooga of MLS Next Pro 0-0 against Corpus Christi FC. Appalachian 0-0 against 1 Knoxville, and Inter Miami CF2 against Miami United 0-0.
Going back the other way, Columbus Crew loved this run from Chase Adams, but if your RT is just a little bit more patient, because now you have Adam Giamfi and so much green grass.
Another chance here for Columbus, saved by Edwards. Another corner coming for Columbus. Edwards starting to make save after save. It's good to be keeping them in it, but it's Columbus again knocking at the door.
Great strike from Chase Adams, and I love the aggressive natures from Ortiz. Brave from Edwards. It's in the unfortunate area. But he's made some big-time saves to keep New York Renegades into this match.
Where'd he get hit?
Stop it.
Scored on a corner in the first half, Columbus. Near post in-swinger here. Dealt with by Descalzo, helping back defensively. Ruiz wants to go in the attack and just cleared. Tristan Brown stepping up, wanting to stop that attack before it could even begin. Oh, we have a break in the action here for a Renegades injury. Statistically, there have been fewer and fewer upsets of amateur sides over pro sides the last couple of years. It's still not a giant sample size, it's just the last couple of years, but would you see any reason for that? Is it the pro teams now are just getting deeper and deeper? Anything that could spark your mind? Again, that this is just us killing time here with some stoppage in the action. Maybe not a full trend yet, but it's starting to look that way, that the amateur sides aren't having as many. Is it just pro sides getting deeper and the pro leagues getting deeper?
I think there's definitely a factor in the rosters getting bigger for pro sides, but I do think fitness is a massive thing, right? Because a lot of, like you said in the first half, Joe, a lot of these amateur sites are not training day in and day out. They have quote unquote real jobs 9 to 5, and they play maybe a scrimmage once a week. So once you get into moments like this around the 60th minute mark, the legs start to get heavy. That's why you maybe start to see first half 0-0. Deep into the second half, that's when the pro sides, because they're in week 2, week 3 of their season, so that's when the difference really tunes in. I think that is a massive factor that a lot of people don't really understand, that a lot of these pro sides, they just got off work and now they're playing against Columbus Crew 2, little things like that, or taking the day off of work. It's a massive difference versus someone that's job is to take care of their body and to stay fit.
It's a conversation, it's an interesting one. I was having it with a different colleague recently, and the answer we came up with was maybe, you look at Open Cup before the 2 years missed because of COVID, there weren't really 2 fully fleshed out Division III leagues like we have now in Next Pro and in USL League One. So maybe a lot of the talent that now has a pro outfit in Division III that would have been previously playing amateur in this tournament, now they are actually on pro teams. So it's interesting because we've seen plenty of upsets of Division III teams over Division II or Division II or Division I. It seems like there's more and more of those, just less and less of the amateur sides over the pro sides. That's enough of us pontificating and being philosophical. 10 minutes into the second half, Columbus looking for more. Adams lets it run by. Here's Brown, saved by Edwards. We talked about it in the first half. If there was going to be a star of this Renegade side that really puts his best foot forward for a potential pro contract somewhere, it was going to be Edwards, and he's proving it.
As Renegades have to go and chase this game now, they leave themselves vulnerable going back the other way. If you are Brown, you have to pick out a corner. Yes, it's a fantastic save from Edwards, but one that you expect him to make right at him to keep this thing 2-0. See the frustration after the fact from Brown if he just has the composure to find that near post. Mo Traore?
That's 5 saves for Edwards now, and basically all of them have been of the very difficult variety. Brown. Still unknown who the victors of this first round will be facing in the second. Draw will happen sometime in the near future. Set those matchups. The next window of games here in Open Cup. The opening week of April. April 1st and 2nd, the 2 match days. Give it away at the back. Adams threads it forward. A third in the offing here. No, it's again a big Edwards save. He's irate at his back line. Specifically Jose Gil, who subbed on at halftime for Kilmar Campos.
really sloppy here from Gill. I love the interchange between him and Chase Adams. Ortiz didn't hit it cleanly enough. What a save that is from Edwards. How quickly he gets down to his left-hand side, and I love the reaction, giving Gill an earful. Not good enough from the sub.
From the corner. These are the moments where in transition, if you can, for Renegades, you have to find something. Columbus recovers. Lapkus. Back behind the play. Man down for Renegades. Haven't had that same bite in this second half, Renegades. Again, it's difficult, down 2-0, to be able to play that same way they were in the first, sitting back, withstanding the pressure, and then going for it. Had to come out more as they've drawn out more. Columbus has gotten in behind more. It's just that domino effect. It all stems from that first Columbus goal. Maybe if it was still 1-0, you still could have played this second half, Renegades, the way they were early in the first half, but as soon as that second goal went, you and I looked at each other and sort of knew how this was going to go, and it's followed that script ever since.
How many times have you mentioned that if an amateur team does go down 1-0, you have to keep it 1-0. You cannot allow it to get to 2, 3, 4, whatever it may be. All these times, like I mentioned as well, it's all about moments. But moments can also be mental. You cannot have a mental lapse whatsoever. And it starts with defending set pieces. You lose your individual marker, you turn off for a second against a professional team, and they'll make you pay. Exactly what Columbus Crew 2 did.
Adams. Brown. Sue. Still continued to keep that massive possession edge, Columbus, throughout it all. Sue. Back for Rogers. Rogers. Ado Giamfi scored the second, chips it over the top here. It's blocked on the volley. That would have been a pretty one between Ado Giamfi and Prestis combining in that way.
Saw them have a lot of success in that first half.
Change coming for Columbus. That'll be all for Austin Sue, we're told, in the midfield. And he's replaced by Ibra Sai. Hour gone, half hour remains. Columbus up 2-0 and looking for more. Corner tally really rising for Columbus as well now. This is their 9th incoming. He goes short. First time they've gone short off of a corner. Better angle, nice ball in, punched away by Edwards. A powerful punch at that. Impressive for Renegades to get here in the first place in a difficult open qualifying region. Now played in behind, flag stays down, Edwards comes all the way out. Goal is vacated, he's still fronting it. Played centrally for Brown and clinical in the end for Columbus. Tristan Brown makes it 3, and they can already taste the second round.
Really good positioning from Brown to start it off. Edwards gets caught in no man's land. No need to step off of your line that high. But give credit first to Ortiz, then Brown to be composed. And around that 18-yard box. How many times have we seen this ball get dragged back and someone elect to hit it first time? He knows he has time, he knows he has space. And gets Columbus Crew to their third goal in the 62nd minute.
And those are the moments where you see it just breaking down now for a team that's fully drawn out. Even Edwards, some of the big saves he's made, psychologically, the impatience to come off his line, it's probably born out of the fact that he's been under fire now for the last 15, 20 minutes. Again, impressive to have gotten here, Renegades, their first ever Open Cup. Founded in 2019. Very difficult region of qualifying to come through. They had to beat a New York Greek American club in their opening round of qualifying play, a four-time Open Cup champion back when it was just amateur. Very historic team in Open Cup. And then recently it's been Lansdowne Yonkers who have been the team to beat in that region, having qualified recently for 5 Open Cups. They come through those teams out of that group into their first ever Open Cup. Historic moment for Renegades. Very bright future for a club that, again, is just 5 years old under the guidance of their president and head coach, Boris Linares. Set up to give players in the region a platform to go on to pro, give them a pathway, or open up a pathway for them, rather. And tonight, for example, in goal, Eric Edwards. I wouldn't be surprised if he has somebody calling after the showing he's had, among others, for this Renegade side. You've seen tonight flashes from Sebastian Ruiz, Rodrigo Descalzo, even on the back line, Ojai Bedward, a 30-year-old who's had a pro look already previously in Nisa and looking for another opportunity now. So they've served their purpose, and Boris Linares and crew can be proud of that. Result not going their way after a strong first half. Also maybe just getting Columbus at a bad time. Inaugural MLS Next Pro champions in 2022, runners-up in 23, lost the Eastern Conference Final last year, so amid all that success, they opened this season with 2 straight defeats, so you know they're trying to cleanse their palate in a game like this, and that is what they're doing now after what was a slow start.
League player not, Rodrigo Higuain, one of the messages to his side was always going to be motivation, the reaction. Anytime a team loses in the game, the next time they have a little bit of fire in them to right their wrongs. It's exactly what we've seen from Columbus Crew too. Good ball here, good idea. But how different could this game have been if they took their chances to Renegades, because they did have a lot of success early in that first half, especially playing direct over the top, causing some issues for Columbus Crew too.
Still seeing the fight here from Renegades on the press there. Angelo Puerto. Columbus does well to play out of it. Adu Giamfi finds Brown, slipped through, flag stayed down, now comes up late. Save was made by Edwards regardless. And he's still irate on the back end, drops to his knees, looking to the heavens for an answer of what's going on with the back line, but he made another stop.
But again, just too much space in between that back line and midfield line. He's about a yard off, Ortiz is. But if that front line goes, Campos and Gill need to step a little bit higher. Or that back line of Gossett and Bedwards needs to be aggressive at just making that space a little bit tighter. That's been their issue in this second half. About 10 to 15 yards between that back line and midfield line, and Edwards is getting the brunt end of it, having to make save after save.
Mauricio Puerto coming on for Renegades. Samuel Cáceres coming off. looks like we're going to have to wait for something else to happen tonight for another true cup set after just seeing one yesterday. Right now, maybe one in the works. Virginia Dream, the amateur side, on the road against Richmond Kickers, up 1-0 nearing halftime. Inter Miami 2 and Miami United 0-0 nearing halftime. One Knoxville up 1-0 on the road against Appalachian. Chattanooga, Corpus Christi are 0-0. Corpus Christi hanging tough there. Plenty more to come the rest of the evening. I think the cup set that I think most people are rooting for, maybe there's two. Des Moines Menace, another basically MLS retiree squad, but it should be fun to watch them play. They expanded upon last year what was just Sasha Kleshtin and a couple of others. Kleshtin was the crown jewel of that team last year. Columbus looking for more. Ortiz had it punched away by Edwards. Comes back out to a Columbus player. Brown went for the spin. Well, this year Des Moines has Dax McCarty, Bradley Wright Phillips, and just basically a full 11 almost of MLS retirees and a couple on the bench as well. It's going to be a fun side here tonight. Also, Justin Merrim, Benny Feilhaber joining the fray, AJ De La Garza, Matt Hedges. So who's who of recent MLS retirees joining Sasha Kleshtin this time around. They take on Sporting Kansas City 2. And then later on a game you and I will have Real Monarchs of MLS Next Pro going up against El Farolito, who last year advanced twice against pro sides, beating Portland Timbers 2 and then Central Valley Fuego. So upsetting two third division sides before losing to the Oakland Roots in the third round. This one played through. Edwards off his line again. Adu Giampi can just escort it all the way into the net. 4-0 Columbus. A brace for Brent Adu Giampi.
Great ball in from Chase Adams. Big Bedward, you cannot get beat that easy with the ball. Adam Giampi makes a fantastic run off of his shoulder. That's when you need a little bit of communication between Garcia Puerto to understand that Adam Giampi's running off the shoulder. Bedward, yet again, Edward just a bit too aggressive off of his line. Chase Adams has shown a little bit of class, a different skill set throughout this match. We've seen him play a little bit deeper, pull the strings. A fantastic assist to go to his name.
Results certainly in hand now for Columbus. Just to go back to that Des Moines game for a minute,
What about storylines there?
Plenty of storylines, and one that our colleague Devin Kerr uncovered. He did the math, thankfully. I didn't want to. Sporting Kansas City 2's average age of the starting 11 tonight is 20.8. The average age for Des Moines Menace in the starting 11, 35.4.
Incredible. Benny Feilhaber used to coach Sporting
They should have
Kansas
invited
City
you
too?
for that
Oh,
team.
Stop. Benny Feilhaber coached Sporting Kansas City too. Felipe Hernandez used to play for Sporting Kansas City.
Do you think they'll celebrate if they score? Or will it be one of those classic things? Okay. One of those classic things where you don't celebrate against your former club.
100% I would. I'm off to the corner.
Well, the first and second half of this game have expectedly so been night and day. We talked about it at halftime and early in the second half. As soon as that second goal went in for Columbus, you forced Renegades to open up, and Columbus at that point should just have a field day in behind. First half, Columbus 5 shots, 4 on target, and 2 of those came in the last 5 minutes, so they didn't really do much in the first half. Second half, with Renegades being forced to come out of their shell, 9 shots, 8 on target for Columbus Crew 2. Having fun with it now, and a couple of more changes on the way. That'll be all for Brent Adu Giampi, who leaves with a brace this evening in his U.S. Open Cup debut. Keyshawn Ferdinand will depart as well. Paulo Marinch comes on the back end for Keyshawn Ferdinand. Further up the field, it's Quinton Elliott coming on for Brent Adujiamfi. Any cup sets for you tonight on the schedule? Beyond potentially Des Moines and maybe El Farolito, the two that I think most people are eyeing up.
I think Miami United. I think they
you did
take
say
down,
that earlier, yeah.
I think they take down Inter Miami too. Miami United, a team that I know in preseason beat the Miami FC in the USL Championship. A lot of those players played for the Florida Soccer Soldiers that went on a fantastic run years ago.
2017, Miami FC made it to the quarterfinal, so we've seen historically some Floridian sides breaking through. Only one yesterday, it was 4-0 beating Texoma. Another fun one could be Ballard against Spokane tonight. Ballard is a team that really turned some heads in USL League 2. Corner for Columbus. At this point, if you're Fede Higuain in this group, it's just a chance to work on some things. Up 4-0, there's no question of the result. Hasn't been really since the end of the first half. 2 straight losses to begin your regular season. What can you work on now these last 15 minutes? Foul on the set piece. And get right back at it this weekend on the road against Inter Miami CF2. Then they're back home after a week off against Crown Legacy. And it's the derby. FC Cincinnati 2, second week of April. That's the road ahead for Columbus. In between there, the hope for Columbus is that they will have another Open Cup match, and that seems to be a lock at this point. April 1st and 2nd, the dates of the second round. And the second round will just be the 32 winners of the first round. No new teams joining the fray yet. We'll have more teams joining in round 3 this year. Round 3 will see the 16 winners of the second round plus 16 USL Championship teams. And that'll be the theme for back-to-back rounds there. The round of 32 will be those 16 winners from the third round and then 16 MLS sides. So we'll see a batch of 16 teams enter in the third, a new batch of 16 enter in the round of 32. And then we go from there. But our second round, April 1st, April 2nd, just the 32 winners of the first round. No new teams coming in the second round. Changes here again for Renegade. Alex Palas coming on. Columbus preparing another. It'll be Juan Granda coming on. A lot of space down here for Chase Adams. It gets to him. And the assist on the fourth goal. Rolls another one forward.
That space I'm talking about yet again, just too spread apart. This Renegade side You have to think fitness plays a factor into it. It's always interesting when you talk about an amateur side coming into the Open Cup. I think the defensive structure always has to be the top priority for any manager. And how tight can you keep your lines and how compact can you be? Because as you play against a professional side, you give them time and space. One thing that's for certain, they will always hurt you. Players that get paid to play are too good to pick up their head, have time to find not one, but two options. That's a hard challenge, and he's already on a yellow card.
Supporter right here, bottom of your screen, is issuing a yellow, but a referee is not.
A little bit of frustration from Descalzo.
Columbus looking for a fifth. Have another corner.
You're looking for a little bit of leadership from Puerto Bedward. If they do step up, that's when Garcia and Silveira need to step with them and just negate that space, because that's what's killing them right now. And try to catch out Ortiz and Adams in an offside position. It continues to break down for the Renegades.
12 minutes to go. Header away by Bedward on the corner. You've got a chance to see a lot of this Columbus team. Some different events you've called at the youth level, U15, U17, which is now shifted to U16 and U18 under the MLS umbrella. But a lot of these players you saw for the first time for Columbus back when they were on those U15 or U17 teams, and you've seen them a lot in Next Pro, and now seeing them here with the Next Pro side, but in Open Cup. What are your biggest takeaways from this Crew 2 side and why they've had so much success here in their early going? We'll come back to that in a second. Something on here for Renegades. They haven't had much in this second half.
Great goal.
And that's something to hang your hat on for New York Renegades FC. The deficit's still 3, but a memory made on a finish like that.
Great run from Silveira. And as Alcázar pulls out the center back, that opens up space. Pick that out. Head down, laces through this ball. Technique flawless. No chance for Lopquist. And Renegades finally find the back of the net.
Take a bow, Jonathan Silveira. That's a special moment in this tournament, regardless of the scoreline. And this break in the action here is just players observing Ramadan breaking their fast. Near the 80th minute.
What a goal.
Terrific. It's, again, not gone Renegades' way ever since late first half. But anything you can take positive out of this tournament and take it into your UPSL season, this is that for Silveira and this team.
But the recognition from Silveira as Delcalzo makes that run, now he opens up space for his teammate. When you have a left foot like that, why not call your own number? Fantastic strike. Top corner. What a memory it is for that man.
Back to that question about this Columbus side. What do you think has allowed them to have such success here just a couple of years into Next Pro? They've had it at the first team level as well, but what about this infrastructure they have from the academy on up has lent itself to such success?
I'll actually go backwards. I think it starts at the top and it goes down. I think what Fernandes been able to do and implement his game model, how he wants the ball to do all the work, the 3-4-3 formation wide, it's proven to work. Obviously, you see the success that Columbus Crew has had at an MLS level, the players that they've been able to bring in, players that they've been able to produce. And I do think it trickles down to the Next Pro, to the academy levels, and players understand that they understand their roles and their responsibilities within this system implemented here from the first team. So when you just have individual talent and you have players that have the discipline that understand that you have to work extremely hard to be successful, that's a great ball. Then the collective will be successful as well. And I think that's been the name of the game for the Columbus Crew and the organization from top to bottom. There's been so many times, Joe, in my career even, when the Monarchs are played different setup than ourselves. So it was a bit different the way that transitional period. When you play right winger, for example, for Mike Petke, he wanted you to be a little bit more inside. Mark Briggs wanted you to be wide. So those little nuances as a player, yes, it might be small to some, but understanding the spaces where to operate, how to be coachable, so to say, play a big factor in your career.
Yellow for Christian Ortiz. Man, you are getting old. You played for Mike Petke? Jeez.
Stop it.
It's almost been a decade since you debuted in this tournament.
No.
Almost.
2018.
Almost. 7 years. I round up to 10.
Don't do that. No, I do feel well. I'm thinking about it. Oh, man.
Especially when you got a guy like Chase Adams out here at 16, about to turn 17.
Oh, these guys are like, what?
Space here on this left side for Tristan Brown, who scored tonight. Brown, not sure if he was trying to retrieve it on his own around the defender or just an off-target pass ahead. Either way, it doesn't work out. And Renegades take it the other way. Remember who you said you think could pull off a cup set tonight?
Miami?
Up 1-0 on Inter Miami CF2 right before halftime.
Told you.
Miami United 1, Inter Miami CF2 0. Virginia Dream did concede to the Richmond Kickers, so it's 1-1 there going to halftime. It looked like it might be another cup set brewing. Richmond battled back. Still 0-0 in that SKC2 Des Moines Menace game. What are your biggest takeaways if you're Bordo Sonares from this game for Renegades as you still a couple of months away from your UPSL season? It's a bit of a one-off here before you go back into hibernation briefly, but what are your takeaways that you'll use when you get to your season?
Transition moments we can be lethal in. And obviously you need a little bit more ruthlessness in around the 18-yard box because it continued to break down. Decision-making was a little bit lacking as well. And the one thing that I would fix if I was Boris Linares is just my defensive shape, right? Playing in unison, because I continue to mention, especially in that second half, that midfield line was disconnected from that back line. And that's how many times do we see Columbus Crew find the back of the net with an oncoming run, a ball from a deep line position. Chase Adams comes to mind, obviously Brown's goal as well. So if you can tighten that space up, then you're going to be really difficult to break down. And that plays into the hands of how explosive your front three is shown to be. Descalzo very mobile as a number 9. I thought Ruiz had some moments. Woods as well. No mistake why they've qualified for the Open Cup. But it's those little nuances, those little differences that make a massive change in once you get to a higher level.
Something tells me this is not the last time they're going to be qualifying for Open Cup here. First time, yes, but they may be regulars in their own right. Again, to get here, this Renegades side went through a historic New York Greek Americans team that's won this tournament 4 times back in the day. And a Lansdowne Yonkers side that's qualified 5 times recently. They sort of had a monopoly over this open qualifier. Renegades in year 6 as a club. Only the last couple of years they've been playing at this level, lifting a trophy in UPSL each of the last 2 years. So get used to them. It's probably the first of what could be a regular stay in Open Cup. There's a lot of those teams around the tournament that we start to count on seeing every year. The likes of El Farolito, the likes of Des Moines Menace, among others that you see year in, year out. Renegades could be angling to be one of those teams. Only 3 minutes to go here. No official word on stoppage time, but don't imagine it'll be much. Not a case of goal differential mattering, so I feel like in these games you tend to see the referees with either nothing or 1 minute just put this game out to pasture. Flag stays down. It almost seemed to catch Ortiz by surprise. He looked over his shoulder and then had a heavy touch. That's a coachable moment for a young player. Play through until you hear a whistle or see a flag.
And he's worked really hard, Ortiz, especially making those runs down those channels. I think if you get him and Chase Adams on the same wavelength, playing off one another, no, we can be a real nightmare for any tide in MLS Next Pro.
Tristan Brown. '90th minute here in Columbus. Goal scorers tonight for Columbus started with Ferdinand in the 44th minute on the assist from Palacios, defender to defender on that goal from a corner kick. Right before halftime it was Adu Giamfi and the assist from Rincon. 62nd minute it was Tristan Brown making it 3-0 from Ortiz, and then the fourth was his second on the day for Adu Giamfi. Chase Adams the assist. And it was Silvera in the 79th bringing one back for Renegades. 3 minutes of stoppage time have been tacked on. Brown. There have been some moments certainly for Columbus that could be cleaned up tonight despite the result.
Speed of play is one of them, especially in that first half. Far too casual the way that they came out. The ball moved really slow, players taking far too many touches. I think that's why you start to see we saw this success for the Renegades, especially within their defensive lines. Whatever Federico said at halftime, we struck a chord. Obviously the game started to open up, but they were a lot more lethal, clean, in terms of their technical ability, but also their decision making.
brightest spot for you for the Renegades, player-wise? Edwards is an easy choice, I guess.
Edwards, I thought, was very good. Ruiz showed. Bedward, the center back, as well. I think those three come to mind. And obviously Silvera, the goal.
Made 8 saves, Edwards, that counted. There were 2 big saves he made on plays that turned out to be offside. So they won't show up on the stat sheet, but the play continued. He still made the saves anyway.
Definitely pieces, definitely. The foundation is there for Boris Linares, what he's been able to build, and the culture. They want to play the game the right way, professional in their approach, professional in their performance. How many times, Joe, we've seen, especially in a situation like this, amateur sides get frustrated, start hacking players. None of that. So hats off to the New York Renegades. And you said it, do not think this is going to be the last time that we see them featured in the Open Cup.
Maybe one last chance for Renegades. 3 minutes of stoppage time have come and gone. And there is the final whistle. Their first ever U.S. Open Cup appearance. Columbus Crew 2 have a victory, and they're on to the second round.
Especially in that first half, wasn't their best performance, but once they got that first and second goal, the game completely opened up. Federico Higuain has to be really pleased with the reaction out of his boys. Professional, clean, ruthless, and they advance to the next round.
They're trying to keep up the tradition of the first team. Columbus Crew have won this tournament. They've twice been the runners-up, so 3 finals overall. Now Columbus Crew 2's first ever appearance in this tournament, and they'll play at least one more game on either April 1st or 2nd in the second round. Look back at the highlights. Columbus scoring 4, 2 of those coming late in the first half.
And it starts with the set piece. Fantastic ball across from Palacios, and Fernandez there to nod it home. But as his ball comes across, great run from Marigianfi, and notice Bedward. He does the hard work. Just so unfortunate, and the ball just skips under his leg. 2-0 for Columbus Crew. Can they make it a third? Great little interchange here as his ball comes back across. Good save from Edwards. He was massive between the sticks for the Renegades. And yet another save, not once, but twice. And a third from Edwards. One of his 8 saves, like you mentioned, Joe. This is a great ball here. Back across from Brown. Even better save. Sports, you see the frustration from the goalkeeper under so much pressure. 1-2. This is my favorite one of them all. How quickly he gets down to his left-hand side and the reaction keeping everyone accountable.
This was one of the ones he would like to have had back. Ortiz gets around him. Net is vacant right now except for a couple of defenders, and slotted home by Brown to make it 3. And it felt out of reach at that point already, but they would tack on another.
Yeah, just a fantastic ball in from Chase Adams. Edwards gets off of his line. Again, under Giampi says thank you very much. 4 goals for the Columbus Crew. But New York Renegades, maybe the goal of the game. Silvera, head down, just ropes this thing into that top corner. 4-1, Columbus Crew 2 advances.
It was something to salvage late on for Renegades. Well, welcome to the Open Cup, Renegades. Sure, it's not the last we'll be seeing of you. A new club founded in 2019, their first Open Cup. Some great things they're doing out there on Long Island. But tonight, it's all Columbus winning this one 4-1. There are 7 other games going on right now, and 5 more to come later tonight. For the crew that makes this possible, broadcast partner Ricky Lopez-Espin, I'm Joe Malfa saying so long for now, but plenty more Open Cup for you to enjoy. Flip around here on U.S. Soccer's YouTube channel.